Since 2012, when the non-interest banking commenced operations in Nigeria, the principles of risk sharing, ethical banking, asset-backed transactions, and zero interest in lending has distinguished the industry as a catalyst for socio-economic activities. This edition of the Islamic Finance Weekly features an exclusive session with the Chief Executive Officer of Jaiz Bank, Dr. Haruna Musa, on the sidelines of the recent 7th edition of the African International Conference on Islamic Finance in Lagos. It was an opportunity to examine bridging the gap, the role of non-interest banking, and expanding access to finance. It began with the current Nigerian banking recapitalization exercise and how the non-interest banks have positioned themselves to raise capital, meet the requirement of the CBN, and expand their activities. The CEO of Jaiz Bank provided insights to how non-interest banks are supporting economic activities in the country, especially the real sector, as espoused by the keynote speaker for the 7th ISIF, His Royal Highness Muhammad Sanusi II, Emir of Kano.
As we all know, capital plays a vital role in giving you the requisite, arsenal for you to compete in the market space. You need to have capital for you, to be able to compete and be able to support the businesses, of your customers. So I think it's an excellent initiative. We must thank our regulator. And we're also happy to state that Jaiz Bank happens to be among the first few banks to have crossed the minimum capital requirement set up by the Central Bank of Nigeria. But again, we look at capital beyond just regulatory requirement. Capital is strategic. So in addition to meeting up with the capital requirement, as Jaiz Bank, we have a 150 billion capital raising initiative. We're starting with the first tranche of 30 billion sukuk, which we are going to unfold very soon. Our target is to close it before the end of this year. In the next 2 years, we are seeing Jaiz meeting up with over 200 billion in terms of capital.
A GDP growth of 5% or 6% may look good. If it is in one niche corner of the economy, you might actually have the vast majority of the population getting much poorer while GDP is growing. Inflation numbers may come down, but the items consumed by the poor, such as basic drugs and basic food, might be getting out of reach of the poor. So the first thing is, if we are dealing with inclusivity, and this is where Islamic finance needs to come in and go back to the basics. Islamic financial institutions need to go to the bottom of the pyramid. You cannot talk about inclusivity if you are not where the people are. You sit in Lagos and sit in Abuja and you book loans. Those loans do not improve the livelihood of the people in the rural areas, in the small towns. And these are the tens of millions of Nigerians who actually need support. The mechanic, the small restaurant owner, the seamstress with her fashion design shop, these small and medium enterprises that employ 70% of our population. And until we begin to grow those, we are not going to have the growth that is inclusive. We can continue having a rapid GDP growth, and it's all in financial services, it's in information technology, it's in oil and gas, not likely to spread to the bottom. So my first suggestion to all the Islamic finance institutions here is, let's try and strategically target small and medium enterprises in locations that already do not have access to finance. And there we can do very good business, musharaka, mudaraba, ijara. And yes, it is more difficult. It means we have to stretch ourselves out widely. And then that is the only way Islamic finance can contribute to shared prosperity.
With modernization and emerging technologies shaping global and financial market activities, Dr. Haruna Musa shared how Jaiz Bank is aligning with the trends to provide innovative services.
I remember when the keynote speaker was speaking, His Royal Highness the Emir of Kano, he has made the definition of non-interest banking very simple. For us to differentiate, non-interest banking, first and foremost, is about trade. You understand? We are financing businesses. Again, risk sharing is very important. I can't say you take the risk 100%. So it's about risk sharing. Again, it is about asset-backed financing. We actually, support real investments in the economy. And again, the most impactful way of measuring the impact we are making is through financial inclusion. Today, we all know from the EFINA report of last 2 years, we have about 26% of adult population in Nigeria that are excluded from the financial system. Again, we have certain regions where exclusion is as high as 90% and even beyond. So honestly speaking, we cannot continue operating just like the conventional banks. I think we need to do the real banking by going to such communities to ensure that they also participate in, the real sector. Again, one of the discussions is about supporting agriculture. Agriculture is about food security. Without food security, honestly, it will even undermine the national security of the country. So I think through our conscious effort in supporting agriculture, we believe we are going to make more impact, in the economy.
Looking at the year 2026, he spoke on the trajectory of non-interest banks, including Jaiz, and what to expect.
I mentioned during the panel discussion that today, if you take all the non-interest banks, I think about 5 so far, beginning from Jaiz Bank, Lotus Bank, Taj Bank, and all the Alternative Bank, and all the other players, we only constitute 1% of the total assets, you understand, in the banking industry. So that means we have 99% out there. So the potential, honestly, can only be imagined. And I think through advocacy, through education, financial literacy, we need to educate people about the advantages of non-interest banking. And if we're able to do that, honestly, the potential is very, very huge.
In the first quarter of 2026, the banking recapitalization exercise will be concluded with Jaiz Bank among the non-interest banks that have met the capital requirement. It is expected that the non-interest banks will play a critical role in supporting economic activities, expand their services to reach out to the unbanked population in rural areas, and deepen financial inclusion in the country. And that will be all on Islamic Finance Weekly today. Don't forget to keep the date with us next week on the program. Follow us on all of our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you for watching, and as always, I am Rahma Say Muhammad, wishing you Merry Christmas in advance.